Alright. Welcome back to Lenz's Comic Corner Classic. This is new classics. This is episode number 3454 and Doubleshot number 3348. Could do 2 DC trade when I got it, like. You think, wow, 3 issues plus 2 one-shots? Like, and by the way, this was like $19.99, this book. I actually got this from Amazon. I got this for cheap. Jeremy Adams basically was writer with Philip Kennedy Johnson, who currently is under exclusive contract with Marvel Comics right now because they haven't done the Marvel Monster stuff. Art by Esmenko, who has been the artist since like the start of the book, Sabata Roca, and Ken Maron. The cover artwork is Brad Walker and Trish Mevhall. So, yeah, Civil Core is basically starts up in the one shot and then continues in the actual main series. I thought this was going to be a mini series. I first heard the term Civil Core, I thought it was a mini series. Nope, it's just a one shot. Yeah, so we start off with John Stewart. Yep, this is basically the one only book that's decoded by Philip K. Johnson. Then, of course, basically just John Stewart. Then, of course, just. So you have John Stewart here, probably just after the cancellation of his short-lived title, War Journal. So you could think of this one-shot here is mostly put just an epilogue for this one-shot, because it's him basically become part of, and of course we find out Kilowog's alive now, and he's a member of the Yellow Lantern Corps. Which, of course, we try to figure out why the heck he's even part of the Yellow Lantern Corps, which seems weird, but, well, the question's not answered here. And then, of course, he takes out a ring, and it's a purple ring. Yes, it's a particular ring. No, it's not the Star Sapphire ring. It's a different one. It's a one that Scott Snyder created, that he just had to create, that made no freaking sense at all. Yeah, it was basically completely pointless because basically it was around very briefly. I guess someone's felt though. Yeah, this particular thing is not really useful. Yeah, I think it's called like the Violent Core. I think it is, and it's just a variant of another core, and this seems completely pointless because the only member was just John Stewart and Sinestro, and he wakes up, and he sees, of all people, Hal, Guy, and some other guy here. I'm not sure who this is supposed to be. Kara Furs is here, as she's back with the Sapphire Core, and then we're introduced to Jade Stone, who is, in fact, a Mazo from the Absolute Power crossover, where they decided to rebuild and make him a protector of the Central Predator Corps. Okay, interesting. They'll mention the fact, basically, about that, and of course, basically, yeah. Oh, and they also mentioned, apparently, the Guardians have completely abandoned the universe. The reason? No idea why. And then we have the Chamber of the Unseen, where we have these 3 blind people here, and they're just chatting about something, and then they're visited by Alan Scott. Yes, which apparently this is just after the conclusion of his miniseries. And then we've got Thanagar, home of the basically the Hawkmen. So basically talking to the lead people who lead the basic people who lead Thanagar, who actually I think it's supposed to be the capital of the United Planets, which in the universe is very controversial because, well, and then we meet apparently like this particular person named Tedros, who apparently is like a leader here with a bunch of Hawkmen, and of course then he does ask the question, what did he do to Kilowog? He does not answer the question at all. And then we have his Hawkman guards, where they're dressed like the Hawkmen from the Hawk World book. I guess that the artist probably felt this though, hey, because the fact it's post-Crisis Infinite Earths, let's have the Hawkmen dressed like the Tim the Truman Hawkman from the late 80s. Oh yeah, it turns to this guy who's supposed to be leader is actually a Durlan, a shapeshifter. And then we have this Violet Lantern Corps stuff, like, oh, you can't trust this thing, or stuff with Starheart. And then we have, I'm not sure who this regular guy is, probably his name was Gangway, and then we have Larfleeze show up. Thank you, Jeff Johns, creating this amazing character. Yes, Jeff Johns created Larfleeze. And no, he did not write, that was a slow book. That was like, Giffen wrote that. I actually enjoyed that book. So yeah, he's here. And of course, he has his hands in this particular ring, which is not very helpful. And something called the Star Shroud. And then, of course, the guy dies. And this kind of unveils, basically, there's this particular shadow creature. And, of course, they try to capture it, which doesn't work. And then he kind of takes this man's dead body. And then frickin' Mogo shows up. Yes, Mogo is here. Frickin' Mogo. I'm not really sure why they kept this in. Normally put they would remove this, but it says, well, right here. Yeah. So, yeah, Mogo is here. Who has gone frickin' nuts. So basically, this continues right after the Civil Core storyline, and then this concludes with the Fractured Spectrum stuff. So, and of course, I try to deal with Durlan. It's not the first thing to deal with Durlan. As a matter of fact, there was a storyline that crossed between both Green Lantern. It was, I think it was just before Godhead. It was a crossover between Green Lantern and Green Lantern Corps that pretty much had the Green Lanterns fight the Durlans, which are creatures, or aliens, first popped up lead superheroes who are present day for all reasons. So then Carol does some stuff here and then fight this whole emotional spectrum stuff. And then of course, basically you have, well, Larfleeze asking where his lantern is. And they go inside this thing, we go into issue 17. More up with the Durlans. Or Jessica Cruz has been captured by somebody who has the Yellow Lantern. And then, of course, this guy comes in with his own ring, based off from John Stewart. Yes. Alan Scott's here. And the whole thing is, well, becomes something here. Mogo fires a red beam that, yeah, basically Mogo is now a Red Lantern. Yes, believe it or not, Mogo, one of the most peaceful planets, one of the most known members of the Green Lantern Corps. A thing doesn't speak. He makes Sinestro a Red Lantern. A longtime Yellow Lantern is now apparently a Red Lantern. Yeah, this is what happens. I didn't remember what happened, and then all of a sudden, Kyle's like, yeah, we need to save the Spectrum, so he becomes a White Lantern again. Despite the fact he gave up that particular ring in the Hallowed Green Lantern Corps. Okay, and then of course he goes off to fix it and take on the Dark Star. And yeah, and then move on to issue 18. Love this cover here by Mark Sears. It's awesome. Yep. And this is kind of the conclusion to the whole Civil Core stuff. And of course, Kilowog is trying to, of course, he does the poser thing and doesn't get free from the Yellow Lantern stuff. Well, we'll find out and see. So, and then of course, the book ends with them going into that. And then we'll go to Fractured Spectrum one shot. Yep. Well, we see the return of the Phantom Lantern. Yeah, he's back here. AKA the First Lantern. A guy who I've heard basically as, I remember him when he was first showed up as the First Lantern. They described him as a snooze fest. Because the storyline he was supposed to be building up right at the First Lantern, he would just screw people's minds. And the biggest thing that happened in that story was the destruction of Sinestro's homeworld. Yep. And then also, Kilowog is back with the Green Lantern Corps now. Okay, moving on. So, and Kyle basically is back in this costume. Despite the fact this is, I'm guessing, yeah, it's kind of weird with continuity stuff. Jessica Cruz kind of, yeah, walk back to the Green Lantern Corps. Basically, and then the whole thing with the Phantom Lantern. This one shot here is mostly put just to factor pile into the current Grand Lance book. Then we have the book of look at all these other books from the various other cores, Sapphire, basically all the other ones, and we have someone dying. And it says next epic will begin in Grand Lantern number 19 and Grand Lantern Core number 1. So yeah, this is kind of like another version of Grand Lantern Core Recharged. Yes, that mini-series that was done by Jeff Johns. I gotta say, this was a good start for this one. Well, this is also the most recent trade release. This is actually supposed to be their trade release, but it's not released just yet. Oh, despite the fact that Jo isn't back cover here, she's not in the issues. Nope, she is not here. As to why she's not here, not sure. But I do like the fact that Spectre Spectrum is the Factor Spectrum is kind of in a way the backer pilot to the Grand Lantern Core series. There is a crossover that I think is since wrapped up. I haven't read the full yet. I've read the first couple parts. It's really interesting. But I think it's also the first one of the all initiative when it comes to Grand Lantern stuff. So, good book, a 9 out of 10. Next up we have is Zatanna. Let's collect the 6 issues that was basically the third find for Zatanna. This, of course, came as a response to the success of Zatanna bringing in the house. And this also been... I've also heard something that she's going to get an ongoing series. First time since 2011. Yes. Which that book mostly by Paul Dini. That book is amazing. This is the first just Zatanna book, first time since 2011. This was, of course, really just last year. Now, the writer and artist of this book is Jamal Campbell. So mostly put is just Zatanna, of course, doing her shows, dealing with a lot of magical stuff per se in this book. At one point she runs to Bruce Wayne, but it's not really him. Even running the Blue Devil. It's a fun magical series. The book, of course, is called Zatanna. It's Showtime. And yeah, she does wear this costume, which I do appreciate the fact that finally they have her stop wearing the new Fatu design and go back to this, because I love this costume. And the book itself, really good. I do recommend checking out being fans of Zatanna. Now, the only reason why I can think of they actually released this book was because the fact that Zatanna sells really well as a solo book. It's not due to any anniversary. I mean, her 6th anniversary was like 2 years ago. So, it wasn't due to that. It was due to she sells really well. Yeah. People want more Zatanna, so DC is like, okay, we'll give more Zatanna. Yeah. There is the previous miniseries, Bringing House, which I haven't seen shit back for that one, and it's like, I kid you not, the book is like $30 for like 5 issues. Yeah. Loads of hardcover. Okay, so that's pretty much it for today's video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, to notifications. Next up, we have one more comic corner. I'm calling night. Okay, thanks to you. Bye.